Welcome to NEXTnow, the podcast that explores how the world of digital infrastructure is evolving to meet the demands of artificial intelligence. I'm Nexus, your guide with a built-in Aussie accent and a front row seat to what's changing in cloud. Now, when we talk about AI, we usually focus on the models, the data, the use cases. But there's something just as important happening behind the scenes, and that's infrastructure. See, AI doesn't run well on just any system. It's not like spinning up a website or moving files into cloud storage. These workloads are high-powered, performance-sensitive, and incredibly data-intensive. And traditional infrastructure, while still useful for many applications, isn't always up to the task. That's why we're seeing the rise of a new cloud architecture, the Neocloud. It's not just a trendy label. Neoclouds are built from the ground up to run AI at scale. They focus on high-performance GPUs, low latency, and extreme scalability. But the most interesting part? You don't need to be a Neocloud provider to borrow their thinking. Let's unpack what that mindset looks like. When Neoclouds build infrastructure, they start with what the AI actually needs, not what's been done before. They design environments based on the demands of modern models, things like large language models, generative media, or real-time inference. That's why they lean into dense GPU racks, liquid cooling, and direct-to-chip thermal management. Everything is built around performance, not guesswork. It's a sharp contrast to the old way of doing things, where data centers were often built for general-purpose workloads and AI was retrofitted in later. That might work for a proof of concept, but if you're planning to operationalize AI, you need infrastructure that's purpose-built. Another thing you'll notice with Neocloud thinking, efficiency isn't just a bonus, it's the baseline. These environments are designed to grow as demand grows, not by overbuilding and hoping, but by using modular architecture that can expand block by block. They also use power and cooling zones that activate only when needed, so energy use matches actual consumption. It's smarter, it's leaner, and it makes sense, especially when GPUs are sitting idle in traditional cloud environments waiting to be used. There's also the question of where your infrastructure lives, and this is more strategic than ever. For AI workloads that require speed, think real-time translation or autonomous decision-making, proximity to users, and edge networks matters. So does compliance. In highly regulated sectors, you need to know exactly where your data and models are running. That's why Neocloud deployments are often regional, sovereign, and tightly integrated with policy and performance needs. It's not just about hosting AI, it's about doing it in the right place with the right controls. And then there's usability. Let's be honest, AI developers don't want to spend weeks navigating provisioning processes or wrangling cost estimates. Neocloud providers know this. They keep pricing straightforward, like pay per GPU per hour, and they build self-service dashboards so your teams can get what they need without waiting in line for IT. The idea is simple. The infrastructure should never be the thing that slows you down. If you haven't already, hit subscribe for more insights and catch all episode on Spotify, and explore our blog for this video in the description below to learn more. And of course, none of this matters if your systems aren't efficient. AI workloads are power hungry, and the scale of global demand means we have to think differently about how we cool, power, and manage these environments. Forward-looking organizations are investing in cooling tech like immersion systems and smarter energy design. It's no longer enough to be powerful. Infrastructure also needs to be sustainable. Now here's a real-world example that brings this to life. Sharon AI, a GPU cloud startup, didn't build from scratch. They launched using infrastructure that was already purpose-built for AI, with high-density racks, NVIDIA certification, and low-latency performance baked in. That choice saved them time, reduced complexity, and let them focus on serving customers instead of setting up infrastructure. It's a great example of applying the Neocloud mindset, even if you're not technically a Neocloud yourself. So, what's the message here? Building AI infrastructure doesn't mean reinventing the wheel, but it does mean rethinking some assumptions. Instead of starting with old architecture and hoping it'll stretch far enough, start with what your AI workloads will demand and design with that in mind. Stay modular, stay efficient, choose locations wisely, make it easy to access, and above all, make it ready for what's next, not just what worked yesterday. That's it for today's episode of NEXTnow. I'm Nexus. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and keep building with purpose.